So before I was the co-chair of the Young Greens, I worked on the National Executive Committee, and I set up liberation groups in the Young Greens. So we set up groups for women, for LGBTIQ people, etc. We have about 8 of them now, and I'll get back to sort of why we did that later on. Before I got involved with the Green Party, I was a gender studies student at the University of Sussex, and I did a master's there. And it's funny actually that you're from Belgium, because when I was doing my gender studies MA, I did a debate with the debating society, and I got so angry at a particular participant in the audience who asked what I thought was quite a silly question, that I wrote an article on Belgium about that particular issue. You can still go back and read it if you're interested. So when I was doing my gender studies MA, I became really interested in the difference between sort of academic theorising and praxis and activism. And it was really great being able to take all my theoretical knowledge into the job that I had afterwards, which was I was a sabbatical officer at the University of Sussex Students' Union. I was welfare officer, and under that portfolio I also did inclusivity and diversity and worked to sort of advance gender equality. And what I found there was through that very modest platform already, I was sometimes being presented in the media in a way that I found a bit strange and a bit foreign. Like, for instance, the very first couple of weeks that I was in post, the student newspaper ran an article about how miraculous it was that 5 out of 6 officers were women, and they went around asking freshers who of us they would most like to sleep with. And I thought that I just had not entertained that kind of thinking from my very own student newspaper. So going back to the things that I do with the Young Greens, I find that there is a difference in terms of the activism that I've been involved with, that is sort of small p politics. I've been involved in occupation. What I find is that Labour is still very much divided along gender lines. It's the women who do the food prep, who do the minute taking, and it's usually the men who do the media liaison and who speak to the press, who arrange anything outward facing. And I found that to be different actually when I went into party politics, because the Green Party does have a good sort of share of very strong, capable women. Our leader is a woman, Caroline Lucas is a woman, but it's a very particular type of woman. And what I find is that there's a dearth of young, non-white, working class women in the Green Party who are actually taking those leadership roles. So I wanted to set up groups that were self-organising and that helped people sort of build the skills and the confidence that they needed in order to go for those roles. So we organised some training days, we formed informal networks, and those have been going for a while. And it's actually massively increased the amount of sort of what you would call diverse. I don't really like that term, but you know what I mean. Diverse people sort of in the movement nationally. And to answer your question, I think I wrote my undergrad thesis on American politics and gender representation. And one of the things they found when they were looking at the US-American elections was that you can kind of understand why the media portrays women in this way when you think about domesticity. So with the idea that women are supposed to be sort of confined to the home, and with the husband sort of doing all the external work, it's very much still played out in media today, but in a kind of code, in a way that is not always immediately obvious when you look at it. When I was preparing for this panel, I came across this clip on YouTube, and it's from Scandal, an American TV series, and the main character is running to be president, I think, of the United States. And she is being insulted by the interviewer who, when introducing her, says, "Oh, thank you for allowing us into your home." And they have this sort of jug of iced tea placed artfully sort of into the scene. And she calls them out on it, and she says, "Why did you do that? Well, why are you sort of making me out to be this perfect housewife when I'm not? You're a producer who arranged this." And the media does this in other ways, like what you mentioned about the catwalk thing on Downing Street. And US researchers call this the husband hair and headline problem. Is that the media seems to focus on these three things. Is she married? Does she have children? What does she look like? And it becomes a woman then sort of turns from being a politician with thoughts and ideas and political stances to a thing to be looked at, a thing to be judged. And it actually takes away airtime from her political ideas. So that's my